let me see if I have the Saban story right, because I was a little surprised by how many negative emails I've gotten. So, because we were talking about the tribalism on the show now, and I'm telling you, people are very, very, they are dug in on their views, and there's not a lot of middle ground anymore right now. But anyway, here's one right here. I cannot believe that Saban made a political statement at all, much less that he would be so biased. He surely doesn't realize what the voting rights bill is really about, or maybe he does. About all and of course he's. I'm appalled by this. Here's one that's pretty straightforward. This might have been from Dickie Nadmeyer. Didn't know Saban was a Democrat. So now, I don't know whether. I mean, so is this? Do I have it right that he's weighed in on this? Is this what's happening?
Yeah, he sent a letter to Joe Manchin. Of course, he is from West Virginia. So did Hall of Famer Jerry West, urging the Democrat to pass the Freedom to Vote Act, or better known as the John R. Lewis Act.
Right.
The Senate took up the bill, and it appears headed for defeat. The package would make Election Day a national holiday and require access to early voting, mail-in ballots that became overwhelmingly popular during the COVID-19 pandemic. Voting advocates nationwide have warned that Republican-led states have passed laws making it more difficult for Black Americans and others to vote by considering polling locations requiring certain type of ID and ordering other changes. Now, to me, there's some of this that I have no problem with.
Yeah.
I always thought it should be a national holiday, and I like early voting. I don't have a problem with mail-in ballots as long as we can prove the identification of the people casting the ballot. Now, why do we do that? Same reason that we require an ID to open a bank account, cash a check, buy movie tickets, get a hotel room, anything else. One vote, one person. Nobody has a problem with that.
Yeah,
but what they're saying is that the Republican measures requiring you to prove who you are to vote discriminates, or it makes some Black voters less likely to vote because they don't want to prove who they are, or there's a fear they're going to be arrested for some crime they have hanging over them or something. It's a long list of possibilities. Let me tell you what I want, Rick. I want everyone who is legally able to vote to vote. Now, another one, and you've seen this in a lot of states, where you sign up to vote or enroll to vote, and then it has to be a certain period of time before you actually vote. Well, a lot of these, they're wanting to have come up and vote and register to vote and vote at the same time. Well, where that can run into problem, you can load up a bus full of people and drive into a district where you're not legally able to vote. You can sign up and vote the day of the election and just pile in the votes illegally. No one is against people voting legally. And we want to make it as easy as possible. I don't have a problem with early voting because it's hard to get to the polls sometimes on a certain day. Mail-in voting, I don't have a problem with that as long as you can track it and make it legal and make it secure. A lot of this is just wide open. Anything goes. Wild West. And more important, it is the federal takeover of state elections. And that is really the bone that a lot of people are choking on with this, because it's just, you don't want that. Now, the demos think they want it right now, but what if a Trump is in charge of the federal elections? Right. Well, you're not going to like it then. No. So right now, each state decides their own thing. They do their thing. They send in their results nationally, and it is accepted. That's why it's so hard to cheat or steal the election if you're an opponent of the U.S., because you have 50 elections going on. And this would do away with all that, and that's why a lot of people don't want it.
Well, the federalizing of it, you're right. That's the number one. The no identification part is the big rub. I'm with you. The problem with mail-in voting and no ID, see, when you add the no IDs, now you can't have the kind of mail-in voting that you and I would want and demand.
Right.
Because I know for a fact, many of us do, this is not even somebody said, that someone that we know personally whose mother has been dead for years, when all the mailing over the pandemic happened, they received a mail-in vote for her at the family, and all they had to do was fill it out and send it in.
Yeah.
And she's dead because no one had to prove that was really her. So mail-in voting, as far as convenience, is great, but there has to be integrity. And what this bill wants is for the federal government to take over elections and for all these things that I'm not like you, Bubba. If we make it easier for people to vote, I'm all about that. But we can't make it to where people don't have to identify themselves because it opens up. And no one is at disadvantage of getting an ID and being able to identify themselves. I just don't buy into that narrative. And the bigger question before everybody right now is, do those that are fans of Alabama, does this matter to you? And I guess it's mattering more than I thought it would to people who are Alabama fans, because I think at the end of it all, I mean, it's football, guys. I mean, you know, your coach has a reason for doing this that I think is pretty obvious. And if it keeps good players on the field and you keep winning football games, does it matter to you that much?
Well,
I mean, and to some people, they say it does.
With Coach Saban, it's not. I mean, he's not the only one that's had to deal with this. We've seen other coaches have to deal with this. And when it comes to politics, which this is, by the way, you're going to see a lot of the players lean one way, and you're going to see a lot of the supporters of the university lean another. And we've seen this time and time again. When you have, and I don't know, Coach Saban may be doing this because he really believes it, or he's a Democrat, whatever. I don't know.
That's his
business. I
business.
don't know his
right
politics.
He has the right to express himself any way he wants to, and people who are fans of the university and the team have a right to express theirs.
But time and time again, when you see a political issue come up, where most of your players probably lean one way, most of your supporters lean the other way, the coach almost always goes with the players. Because if he doesn't get those players, he's going to lose games, and he won't have those supporters. He can have those supporters, but lose games, he won't have them very long.
That's right.
So the smart money, if you're a coach, is go with your players.
No doubt.
Coach Saban needs to stick to football, you guys, okay? Coach Saban, stick to the X's and O's. Also, Coach Tommy Tuberville for Senate.
Oh, my gosh. All right, two things, if I could.
But you're right, Bubba. Let me tell you what he's saying. He's saying, you fans will get over this when this team wins.
Yeah.
You fans will be after me no matter what I do if our team loses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Joe Manchin came out yesterday afternoon and said there was something left out in the letter that former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue left out a footnote from Coach Saban that was sent in the official letter, and it said that Coach Saban's not in favor of getting rid of the filibuster in the Senate, but that footnote was left out of the letter that was sent to him. So he's kind of like, hey, the whole thing wasn't given to me because the footnote was left out. Also, Manchin responded to Saban in a letter encouraging Saban to please start calling running plays in the red zone. and that's not being discussed either.
Your phone calls are next. So we'll start with Ray Ray. Ray Ray, welcome to the Rick and Bubba Show. How are you today, Ray Ray?
Hey, doing good. Just enjoying the show. Hey, look, I know all the Alabama folks called in. We got to let someone from Auburn get through. Bama needs to get their stuff together and leave Auburn out of this, because there's no way Coach Dye or Coach Jordan would have ever sent a letter like that to a politician. And number two, this is a distraction from the fact that they lost the national title game, and Nick Saban started doing all this to make the Alabama fans forget about that.
Oh, so you're saying it's a diversion? He did this just to get everybody's mind off that?
Yes, that, and then also the Dale Earnhardt, the third incident up there in Nashville, of the former quarterback, and I'm not trying to get into that, but it's also distracting from that.
Okay. So Ray Ray says this letter really is just a distraction. Saban trying to get everybody's mind on other things. Anonymous caller in Bama. Anonymous, go ahead.
Rick, Auburn fans have been miserable for so long, we kind of enjoy it. I wouldn't take Nick Saban if he came to coach for free.
That's just not true. You just lied. I mean, I appreciate your sentiment, but you don't. You take him championships in a second. I mean, and honestly, if you would, you're kind of weird. I mean, let's go to Matt in Alabama. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Green Acres, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Matt. Appreciate you very much. Go ahead.
Yes, as a diehard Auburn fan, I say, hey, let him go. Maybe he'll send an email to Bernie next week about free health care.
I tell you, it's put people in a strange place, hasn't it? Rick?
Yeah. Well,
they don't know how to react.
It's going
to it.
exactly well.
Right.
Oh, this is so much fun. Phyllis in Alabama. Phyllis, go ahead.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because I just wanted to say that coaches should stick to coaching and politicians should stick to politicking. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, Phyllis, here's the thing. We're having some fun because we're talking. This is football and it's politics and all this, and these are important things. But it really is no more complicated than this. When it comes to entertainment, the number of people I have found to be entertaining throughout my life that line up with me on the way I see the world is about 0.5%. Most every person, Tom Petty was an absolute idiot when it came to politics, morality, and I still kind of dug his songs, and so, the NFL, if we've already went through this, a lot of players don't see the world the way a lot of the fans see it. A lot of players in college football don't see the world the way you see it, and on certain topics. But that's all right if it's your team and it's your coach, and it's football. And if you have a right to express your mind, they have a right to express their mind. You can agree or disagree, but when it comes to the entertainment business, if you enjoy entertainment, but you're only going to enjoy it or only going to be supportive if they all see the world the way you do, you're going to have a hard time finding. This show's about all you got. And we're here,
and we're hanging on by a thread.
And we're here. Bubba's leaning to the left a little bit. I mean, I'll acknowledge that. But it's
I'm gonna get you.
He's changing.